What's up guys, welcome to the Ride Balance channel. My name is Chan. Today I'll be showing you how to change the tire on your Onewheel Pint. Now I do a lot of trails and off-road riding, so for the best traction we'll be going with the new threaded Hoosier tire. Before we begin, let's quickly go over all the tools I use for this project. Husky stubby set, channel locks, pry bar, valve stem removal, screwdriver, tire inflator, 2x4, tire lube, and slime tire sealant. Now if you have a fender cover on your Pint, start by removing the 4 screws. Then carefully popping off the cover. With the fender removed, now go ahead and flip over the board and remove all the screws on back of the board. There should be 10 screws total that you'll need to remove. Once the screws are removed, flip back the board and remove the screws for the foot pad. Go ahead and remove the left side of the foot pad while carefully holding the right side sensor pad because the cables are still intact. Now with your flathead screwdriver, you may need to pry loose your bumper to be able to pull it off. Be careful not to pull or damage the foot pad cable while removing the bumper because the cable is still intact. If you're removing the bumper for the first time, you may need to grab a good grip of it and put some muscle into it. With your channel locks or plier, go ahead and carefully break loose the cables. Now you don't need much, just loosen enough so you could get in there and remove it with your fingers. With the cables removed, now we'll go ahead and remove the 2 bolts on the side rail. Now remove the screws holding the sensor plate and the rear back plate. With all the screws removed, now you should be able to disassemble everything off the wheel. Also, don't forget to remove the 2 hub screws. Now it's time to deflate the tire. By using your valve stem removal tool, start by slowly removing the valve stem. Now it's time to break the bead on the tire. Now the best way to do it, if you don't have a bead breaker, get yourself a couple 2x4 or a piece of wood and line it right up to the edge of the tire and go ahead and give it a forceful stomp. Now you want to make sure it's broken loose all the way around the tire. And then you want to flip it over and do the same on the other side. Now it's time to remove the tire off the rim. You'll need your pry bar and a flathead screwdriver to do this. First, grab a pry bar and hook it onto a section of the tire to pry it open. With one hand leveraging the pry bar, use a screwdriver to pry open another section of the tire. Continue to work your way around as needed until the tire is completely popped off from the rim. With one side of the tire popped off, now you'll need to do the same with your pry bar on the other side. Now you're ready to install the new tire onto the rim. And I found the best way to do this is to get on the ground so you can get some leverage, and also so you can hold the tire in place. Notice I'm starting with the cable on the top side first. With the rim, place it at a 45 degrees angle against the tire as you push and turn method. Continue to do this until the rim pops right into the tire. Once you get one side in, go ahead and flip it over and do the same on the other side. Start off by pushing one section of the tire and rotating until your tire is fully popped in. Now add some tire lube on each side and we'll go ahead and air up the tire until it pops into place. Ensure that both sides are popped into place. Now with both side tire bead in place, we'll go ahead and deflate the tire and start to add some slime tire sealant. For proper seal, we'll add about 1/4 of this bottle. After putting the tire sealant, you'll need to put back your valve stem before airing it up. Air up your tire to your desired pressure. Now if you're unsure where to start, a good rule of thumb is take whatever your weight is, divide that by 10, and that should be a good starting point. Now that your tire is fully aired up and ready to go, it's time to assemble it back onto the board. For this step, you'll want to lay the tire down with the cable side on the bottom. I found it helpful if you take a couple 2x4 to put it underneath the tire between the cable. This will help avoid bending or damaging the cable and help balance the wheel while you assemble the board. Align and install the 2 rail bolts to the wheel. Now install your rear foot plate. Now install the front sensor pad. With one side of the board screwed in, roll over the board and attach the motor cable. Now align and screw in the other side of the rail, the rear plate, and the front sensor pad. Don't forget about the bottom half of the hub bracket. Now plug in the foot pad sensor cable. Now put back your front bumper and screw down your front foot pad. Now for the rear bumper and the rear foot pad. With the front fully secure, let's flip the board over and install all the screws on the back. Lastly, we'll flip the board over, make sure all the screws are tightened, and put back our fender cover. Now let's turn it on and give it a test to make sure the board is working properly. Well, there you go, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it below. And if you got some value out of this video, I'd greatly appreciate if you hit that like button. And before I go, you guys, just always remember, ride hard, ride safe, and ride balanced.